Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and in this one we're out here on the bayou early morning and we're going to be doing some gar fishing. Right now I'm going to cast out this whole finger mullet on my Shimano Tranks 401 and I'm pretty much just going to sit here and wait and hopefully get a bite. Okay, so I just had a run. Oh, I think I still got him. Oh yeah, I got him. Oh my gosh, dude. I think it's a long nose because he came up and like jumped completely out of the water. Oh yeah, massive long nose. Holy crap, dude. I do not know. All right, well, he's already on land, but I gotta get him up here. Okay. I got the hook in the net, but I mean, holy crap. I do not know how he ate my bait because I had like a gigantic mullet head on there because I switched it out from that finger mullet. But dadgum, dude. First of all, that's a PB long nose. Second of all, as you can see, oh crap, the hook, I'm pulling it on the net. So the hook is not in the fish at all. But basically, he came up and jumped. And, well, actually, my bobber just started taking off. So I picked it up, put the chest strap on, and then he jumped. And I thought he came off because then my bobber just kind of stopped moving. But nope, he was still on there. And now I'm going to try to set this phone up and record myself. There we go, now I can see myself. All right, there we go. That is a pretty big long nose gar right there. I'm not gonna measure him because I don't have anything to measure him with. So I'm just gonna get him back in the water. I'm gonna do right here. That way I don't fall in and die. All right, let's get him up there. That is a big long nose. Come on, man. You're making my job hard. Oh, come on, man. This piece of wood right there. There he goes. This water is much shallower than I thought. That was not only a new PB, but also big for a long nose gar in general, because those things only, I mean, they can get up to like 4.5, 5 feet. But those, when they're like that, kind of rare. Wow, I need a whole new leader. It's a good thing I cut off that hook. That is bent completely out of shape. So I'm gonna throw that in my tackle box. Dude, I can't believe, I mean, I wasn't recording because I was trying to save battery and all that. But he took it straight down, basically. I'm just gonna put that right there because I'm gonna throw that hook away. He started taking it like crazy. So I picked up the rod as fast as I could and I was trying to let line out while also wearing my chest strap. I mean, trying to put on my chest strap. And when he was running, he jumped like at least 2 feet in the air. But now I'm gonna re-rig this, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to show y'all how I do it for gar. It's pretty much the same thing for small gar, it's just smaller overall. But basically, you take a slip, well, you tie it, you make sure you have an empty line, and then you take a bobber stop, you put on a bobber stop, like that, and you can set that to whatever depth you want, so that, like, usually it's depending on the depth of the water, but you want to set it to like 10 or 15 feet deep, because even though you have a bobber on, you want your bait to sit on the bottom. That's why it's a slip float. But if it's like in the bottom and like 50 feet of water, gar don't like to just sit wherever. They like to sit at a certain depth, and usually that's about 10 or 15 feet of water. So that's why you want to set it to that depth. But then before that, you're going to put on after that, you're going to put on a bead. Any size, well, just doesn't matter. and then a slip float like that. So now whenever you cast out, the line can freely go down, but your bobber is just there as an indicator so you can see where the fish is. And your bait's gonna sit on the bottom because you want to use a heavy enough bait to get it on the bottom. But then once you got your bobber stop to the bead to the slip float, you're gonna take your swivel. Obviously you need a swivel. And you're gonna tie your leader on. Now I use like 80-pound leader because obviously alligator gar can get pretty big. And then I use a uni knot. People will say the polymer knot is the best knot, but when you're tying a rig like this, you can't tie a polymer knot because you have to loop around your bait. You can't do that like this unless you want to go around your whole rod, which would just be a waste of line. So just tie a uni knot, just like that. And then leader is completely up to you. There's a yellow jacket on my backpack. Leader is completely up to you. But I wouldn't say to do like an extremely long leader, because I mean, that is like, your leader basically is the minimum for how deep you can go. So if you set your bobber stop all the way up against your bobber, however long your leader is, as long as you go. Also, a really long leader is harder to cast. So I usually go about like 2.5, maybe 3 feet on the leader. That's probably about 3 foot. And then you take your hook. Now, hook is all up to you because you can use small J hooks, which I used for the longest time. But then I realized if you just take a normal sized treble hook, you can set the hook quicker and you don't have to sit there and wait for them to run, and you have a higher chance of getting them. Now, if you use a massive treble hook and you let the fish eat it for like 5 minutes, that's not good because not only are they going to swallow it, it's going to hurt them really bad. So I suggest a small treble hook and then just set the hook after like a minute. And most of the time you should get them on the mouth. That long nose gar wasn't even hooked. And that was a terrible knot. But just like that, and then you cut your tag end, and boom, you have a gar rig.